Welcome back to the Diaphragm Dynasty, where I talk everything R&B. I have my first segment for Behind the Pen, and I'm very excited about this Behind the Pen, talking about the songwriter Babyface. Not talking about his artistry work as a singer, because he's done great things there as well, but I am more of a fan of Babyface as the songwriter. He's gave us countless hits of R&B and greatless memories, timeless memories. But to me, he's the best songwriter in songwriting history. And I know that's arguably because it's subjective, but when I go through the list of songs that he's contributed to the genre, you probably feel different because a lot of these songs you might not know that he actually contributed to, and not just you know, not just do a couple of years, but decades. Even now, he's still contributing. So there's a lot of things that he's done that a lot of people are not aware of because the songwriter is behind the scenes, and it's one of the most important jobs that you can have in a music career because, well, in the music industry, because a lot of people don't know the songwriter, but they definitely know their hits and they definitely know their words. So that's one a unique skill set to have, or a unique ability to have, not to have the fame, but still have the money and then still have the recognition amongst your peers because they know what you do, even though the casual fan might not know. Even though it's in the credits, a lot of people don't read the credits, but I'm a fan of reading the credits ever since I was buying CDs back in the day, and finding out most of these artists wasn't writing their own songs. There were other people that was writing these songs, and if it's R&B, more than likely, Babyface had a hand in it somehow. But you cannot tell the story of R&B without Babyface. Babyface contributions to the game, what he means to the game is everything. I remember Tank saying that he was a singer, but he learned from Babyface. You have to learn the backside of the business and learn that the songwriter gets you that money that keeps going. Performing is cool and singing and going on tours and stuff is cool, but having that paper bag money from writing the songs and getting the residuals is everything. And it keeps your family fed and keep you fed for a long time, even when fans get fickle and don't listen to your music anymore and they're going for the younger artists. You can still write for those older artists and you can still eat in this game. So you can still have your say so and not be written out of the game because you're writing for other people, ironically. But along with L.A. Reid, Babyface has made huge contributions to the game. Wrote a lot of great songs and a lot of great moves as well. Not only just from a songwriting standpoint, but from a production standpoint as well. Him deciding to break Tony Braxton's first song during the Boomerang soundtrack was huge. I talked about that a lot about artists starting off on soundtracks because the fans have emotional connection to the movie, and if they're a fan of music as well, it'll all link together, and eventually you'll be connected to both, creating a new fan base, creating a huge platform to do so. Especially nowadays with the lack of radio and a lack of interviews on TV, everything is podcasting and things like that now. But that was a huge move. Just reading the L.A. Reid book. If you haven't read it, definitely check out the L.A. Reid book autobiography. Very great read, especially if you're a fan of music. A lot of things make sense when you read that book as far as music goes. But Babyface, I'm gonna go through some of the songs that he's written, and it's just some of the songs because he's probably have over 400, 500 songs that he's written. So I'll start off with Bobby Brown's "Don't Be Cruel" and "Every Little Step," "On Our Own." Um, well, "Every Little Step," then "On Our Own," which was "On Our Own" was on the Ghostbusters soundtrack. But that was huge for Bobby Brown's career, having those songs written by him. Those are some of his biggest hits. So it's very, very heavy contributed to his success. And then Johnny Gill's My," and "There You Go." Another songs that are great as well. "There You Go" was on the soundtrack for New Jack City, so another soundtrack one. Whitney Houston, one of the greatest singers we have in of our time that we had. "I'm Your Baby Tonight," he wrote. TLC's "Baby, Baby, Baby," one of their earlier great hits. Tevin Campbell's two biggest hits, "I'm Ready" and "Can We Talk," were both written by Babyface. So, enough said there. Tony Braxton, "You Mean the World to Me," "Breathe Again," "Love Should Have Brought You Home," which "Love Should Have Brought You Home" is the song that pretty much introduced her to the game off that Boomerang soundtrack, which is a very good soundtrack. that Babyface and L.A. Reid contributed heavily on. Um, Boys to Men, End of the Road, and I'll Make Love to You, two of their biggest hits as well. It's so many to name that he wrote for, and then he made help the careers of these R&B artists. But in my opinion, and I believe a lot of people agree with me, his best work was the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. Now he contributed or wrote on a lot of those songs on that album, and he pretty much was the album for that soundtrack. Not Gonna Cry by Mary J. Blige, which is a very good song. It's one of those songs that I talked about on my segment with Keisha Cole, being that regretful love and being hurt. That pain that she conveyed in that song was all the words of Babyface, the great Babyface. Sitting Up in My Room, which was one of Brandy's earlier songs in her career after her first album released, self-titled album release. Huge song for her. Those words are amazing that he put together in there. Every time um, every time you smile, I feel tremors in my heart. The words that he wrote in there is just crazy just to think that a human could write words like that and put them together like that. A true wordsmith. Exhale, Shoot by Whitney Houston. We all know that was like the leading song, the biggest song on the whole soundtrack. Why Does It Hurt So Bad? An underrated song from Whitney Houston that I liked on the soundtrack as well. But his best work was all on that album. If you want to say, just on collectively on one piece of work, that was definitely the best. And it's considered the best R&B album of all time, not just soundtrack, but just R&B album of all time. It sold, I believe, close to 25 million records, or somewhere between 15 to 25 million records. It sold a lot of records. So it did a lot of, um, had a lot of commercial success. But I don't think Babyface will be replicated again, because just to have that mind and to have that unique skill set, special skill set of skills, you should say, that he has, and being able to put those words together and to be convey a story like that. It's underrated as a songwriter, but songwriters are great storytellers if you're a great songwriter. And that's not highlighted enough, because he can tell a story like no one else can. Even if he probably never went through it, he can probably, be able to make up a situation and be able to tell the story and then convey it to the audience in such a beautiful manner. But he made pivotal, you know, he's also, I think, one of the best songwriters for soundtracks. So contributing to the Soul Food soundtrack, Boomerang, and Waiting to Exhale, he contributed or wrote pivotal songs for these soundtracks. A song for Mama that he wrote for the Soul Food soundtrack is one of the best dedication songs for mothers. s- You know, until Dear Mama. So you put Dear Mama up there, and you put a song for Mama. Those songs right there are the two best R&B dedicated songs, or songs period dedicates to loves of your mother. And like I said, he wrote that. He those beautiful words that he put together. And then lastly, I want to talk about Drew Hill. He contributed "We're Not Making Love Anymore" and "These Are the Times." Two of some of my favorite songs from Drew Hill. Very amazing group, but songwriting definitely helped that song. Even with Cisco's voice, and definitely Drew Hill's voice collectively. So many songs for him, and he's one of the most consistent songwriters that we have of all time. Writing all the way back to the '80s, I believe, until now, contributing or help writing on SZA's song. Recently, um, can't think of the name of the song that comes to mind, but he wrote. Um, Let me see. Well, it'll come to me later. I'll talk about it later in another segment. But he did write a song for SZA. Just did her past album. So many accomplishments, and not enough time to talk about what Babyface meant to the game. But definitely check out his music and songs that he's written. And until next time, I'll see you next time.